Heaven has stilled the noise for this moment. The clock has stopped ticking, not because time has ended, but because eternity has something to say to you. This is not another sermon, not another whisper among the thousands of voices that pass you by. No, this is the divine breath pausing over your life, waiting for your spirit to awaken. The heavens lean close, the spirit hovers, your name is known, your story is not forgotten. You have been brought to this moment not by accident, but by design. Because something inside you must die before something greater can live. There is a version of you that heaven cannot use. A weaker self that hides behind excuses, fears, and delayed obedience. You felt it, haven't you? That tug of war between who you are and who you're meant to be. The trembling, the hesitation, the comfort that feels safe but is secretly suffocating your calling. The Spirit has seen your battles in the dark, the nights you wrestled with guilt, the mornings you promised change, the days you felt the fire fade again. But heaven has come tonight with holy interruption. Kill that weak version of yourself in 2026, not with anger, not with striving, but with surrender. The kind that breaks pride and births power. The kind that says, Lord, I'm done pretending. The kind that lays down the fragments and asks God to make them whole. You've been living between two selves, the one that bows and the one that resists. But in the stillness of this moment, the Spirit whispers, I want all of you, every fear, every failure, every fragile part that keeps shrinking back when I call you forward. Can you feel it? The trembling inside your chest is not fear, it's awakening. Heaven is calling you higher. God has seen the strength He placed in you before you were formed, but you've been living beneath it, chained by the memory of who you once were. The old habits, the quiet compromises, the comfort zones disguised as peace. You've built walls to survive, but now those same walls are keeping you from growing. And so the voice of God comes, not in thunder, but in truth. This is the year you rise or remain. The choice will not be easy. The cross never is. But there is glory on the other side of surrender. There is freedom beyond the fear. This word has come to you because the Father refuses to let you stay small when He created you to carry His greatness. Look at your life, beloved. The struggle you face right now, the one that's been breaking your heart, is the very place God wants to start His resurrection. You've been living in the tension between what you believe and what you see. Between promises spoken and promises still waiting to breathe. The days blur together, don't they? You wake up and whisper, God, I'm still here. But sometimes it feels like no one is listening. The silence stretches too long. The prayers echo back too empty. You've waited for breakthrough so long that the waiting itself became your rhythm. And though your lips say, Zir, I trust you, your heart trembles in the quiet where no one can see. You've smiled for others while breaking inside. You've carried light for others while walking through your own night. You've tried to stay strong, but some days, you just want to stop pretending you're okay. There's a storm inside you that words can't name. It doesn't roar, it whispers. It questions. It drains. You feel it when you scroll through the lives of others moving ahead while you stand still. You feel it when you pray, and the heavens seem heavy with delay. You feel it when your own thoughts turn into noise, and peace feels like a foreign land. You tell yourself it's just a season, but the season keeps stretching. You keep showing up. You keep holding on. But secretly, you wonder, when will it be my turn to breathe again? You remember when faith felt simple, don't you? When worship came easy, when you could sense His nearness without trying. But now, you sit in silence and feel the weight of absence. You know the verses. You know the promises. Yet something in you whispers, what if it's too late? What if I missed it? What if I'm not strong enough? And that's where the war begins. Not around you, but within you. One side longing to believe, the other side whispering to give up. One moment fire, the next ashes. You've been building walls to protect yourself from disappointment. You've learned to hide your weariness behind words like faith and there's hope. You don't want people to see how tired you are. Tired of waiting. Tired of wondering. Tired of trying to be the version of yourself everyone expects. You've watched others rise while you wrestle. You've cheered for them, but deep down you've asked God, why not me? Why this silence? Why this delay? You don't lack love for Him. You just can't understand the way He's moving. Sometimes you think maybe you're being punished. Maybe God is distant because you've failed too many times. You replay your mistakes, your weaknesses, your half starts and near victories. You think about the moments you almost changed, almost believed, almost surrendered fully, but didn't. And shame creeps in quietly, wearing the mask of humility. It tells you you're too far gone, too broken, too small to be chosen again. And yet, somewhere, under the rubble of your self-doubt, something still flickers. A small, sacred ache. A whisper that says, there's more. That whisper is not you, it's Him. The one who still hovers over the chaos, the same way He did in the beginning. The one who sees order inside your storm. You may not recognize it, but heaven is moving in your waiting. God has not been silent. He's been sculpting. He's been stripping away the weaker layers of you that cannot carry the weight of what's coming. Every delay was a design. Every silence was a shaping. Every storm was a sanctified shaking. You thought it was punishment, but it was preparation. You thought it was confusion, but it was construction. You thought God left, but He was closer than ever, rearranging your soul for the new strength He's about to release. What feels like chaos is not chaos at all. It's choreography. Heaven's hands are at work in the dark, aligning your pain with purpose. So don't curse the storm. Don't run from the waiting. What feels like breaking is the sound of the weak version of you being undone. And somewhere beneath the thunder, grace is whispering your name, calling you to rise again, not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. Heaven has never been silent, it has only been strategic. What you called delay was not denial, it was divine precision. What felt like emptiness was the rearranging of eternity around your destiny. You see, from the ground, the waiting looks like stillness. But from the throne, it looks like movement too holy to rush. The heavens were never ignoring you. They were aligning you. While you wept in the night, angels were building in silence. While you questioned your worth, the Father was preparing the stage for a glory that could not be revealed too soon. You thought nothing was happening, but everything was. Hidden roots were strengthening beneath the soil while you longed for fruit. God was not withholding. He was protecting what would one day bloom without withering. From heaven's view, the storm that frightened you was the wind that carried your seed to new ground. The silence that made you doubt was the stillness where your soul was being refined. You wanted answers, but God was giving you wisdom. You wanted speed, but He was teaching you depth. Every unanswered prayer was a conversation happening in a language too high for words. You cried, "Lord, why aren't you speaking?" And He whispered, "Child, I'm building." What you saw as walls were actually wings forming in secret places. What you called endings were doorways hidden in shadow. You thought the delay was proof of distance, but heaven was closer than your own breath, holding the blueprint of your becoming. God never works in straight lines. His ways curve through mystery, shaping strength in places you would never choose. He hides victory inside what looks like loss. He conceals healing inside what feels like heartbreak. He lets you walk through silence because He knows sound would distract you from His deeper work. He lets you wait because waiting is the womb of transformation. The potter never rushes the clay. He knows pressure and stillness create form. And while you thought the silence meant abandonment, heaven was forming the version of you that could finally carry fire without burning out. If you could see from His view, you would understand why the doors stayed closed, why the relationships ended, why the dream took longer than you planned. You would see that every "not yet" was mercy disguised as delay. Every unanswered prayer was grace keeping you from lesser things. You were never forgotten. You were being fitted. You were never delayed. You were being designed. Heaven was rearranging time itself to make sure the blessing would not crush you when it arrived. And now, as the light breaks through, revelation begins to settle like dawn on your heart. The chaos wasn't chaos, it was choreography. The waiting wasn't waste, it was weaving. The silence wasn't absence, it was sacred alignment. God has been nearer than your next breath, walking through every detour to bring you into the very place He promised. You were never standing still, you were standing in divine timing. So breathe now. Let peace return to your soul. The storm has served its purpose. The silence has spoken its language. The hand of heaven has never stopped writing your story. The weak version of you was buried in the mystery, and what rises now will walk with holy clarity. Lift your eyes from what was lost and behold what is unfolding. This is not confusion, it is creation. This is not delay, it is divine order revealed. Trust the wisdom of His timing and embrace the beauty of His plan. For heaven has not been late, it has been perfect. And now the rhythm of eternity whispers gently, "Child, it's your time to see what I've been shaping all along." There comes a point where faith is not loud anymore. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, it simply breathes. You've reached that place now, where God is not asking for noise, but for stillness. The kind of stillness that trembles with surrender. The kind of waiting that feels endless, yet holds eternity within it. This is where faith grows roots. Not in the excitement of answered prayers, but in the quiet where you have no proof except His word. You stand here between what was promised and what has not yet appeared, and heaven watches. Not to test your worth, but to strengthen your trust. This waiting is not punishment, it is sacred ground. There is holiness in the pause. There is purpose in the slowness. God does not rush eternity, and He will not rush you. What He is forming within you requires time. Time to deepen, time to stretch, time to align. You've been wanting to move, to act, to see something change, but the Spirit whispers softly, "Just wait." And that word feels heavy, doesn't it? Because waiting looks like doing nothing. But in the kingdom, waiting is warfare, waiting is worship. Waiting is where your will bows and His takes shape. You are not being asked to understand, only to yield. Every delay has a heartbeat if you listen closely. There, in the silence, God is breathing patience into your spirit. He is unlearning your hurry. He is pulling you away from the noise that once defined your faith, into a faith that doesn't need to see to believe. There is something being refined in you right now, something eternal. You are learning to love Him for who He is, not for what He gives. You are learning to stand still, not because you are stuck, but because you are being stationed. Heaven is not slow, it is exact. And the timing you call late is the timing that will one day make sense with divine clarity. You may not feel strong, but that's where the power hides, in weakness yielded to grace. The waiting is pressing against your flesh, but forming your spirit. The ache you feel is not wasted, it's evidence of transformation. You are being stretched beyond comfort into trust that breathes beyond reason. And while everything in you wants to move, to make it happen, to fix what feels broken, the voice of God says gently, "Be still. I am doing what your effort cannot." Every tear, every sigh, every quiet surrender is seen. Heaven counts them not as moments lost, but as seeds sown. You may not feel progress, but faith grows underground. You may not see answers, but alignment is happening in dimensions you cannot touch. This silence is not empty, it's holy. This slowness is not delay, it's preparation. You are walking through sacred time, where God is not explaining Himself, but revealing Himself little by little in the hush of your obedience. So, rest now. You don't have to prove your faith. Just hold it, even if it trembles. Just stay, even if it hurts. The waiting will not break you, it will make you. The stillness is not absence, it is invitation. God is near, closer than your pulse, shaping strength in the unseen. The weak version of you is fading, and a stronger, quieter faith is rising. Stay in the silence a little longer. Let the waiting teach you the rhythm of heaven. For soon, the one you've been waiting for will speak. And when he does, everything will make sense. This is not the end of the story, it's the space before revelation. Now, heaven begins to speak. Not in thunder, not in fire, but in the soft light of understanding. The Father whispers, "This is why I waited. You thought I had forgotten you, but I was guarding you. You thought I was withholding, but I was building something that could last. You prayed for doors to open, but I knew the foundation beneath your feet was not yet strong enough to carry what you asked for. I was not ignoring your cries. I was anchoring your soul. The delay you despised was the fire that purified your motives. The silence that broke your heart was the classroom where I taught your spirit to listen beyond words. I was not punishing you. I was preparing you for a weight of glory you could not yet bear. You see, what you called distance was actually divine protection. I stepped back so that your roots would reach deeper. I hid myself so that your hunger would grow stronger. You needed to feel the ache of absence so you could truly recognize my presence. The waiting was not a wall, it was a womb. The pain was not the end. It was the beginning of something new. Every unanswered prayer, every sleepless night, every tear you shed in confusion became part of a pattern too intricate for human sight. I allowed the breaking so I could rebuild you with eternal strength. I allowed the emptiness so you would learn that fullness was never found in circumstances, but in me. Heaven's reasoning has never been random. Every detour had design. Every season of silence was the sound of my hand, arranging what your heart could not yet hold. I slowed your steps because your spirit was still learning to walk with me, not ahead of me. You wanted the promise quickly, but I wanted the promise to be pure. You asked for open skies, but I gave you deep soil first, because without roots, the fruit would not remain. You were waiting for me to move around you, but I was moving within you, making you unshakable, unoffendable, and unafraid. I let you feel weakness so you would discover my strength. I let you experience lack so you could see that provision is not a place, it's a presence. I let you feel the weight of unanswered questions so that when the answers came, they would no longer be your idol. I shaped your faith through paradox. By holding back, I moved you forward. By keeping silent, I taught you to hear. By delaying, I positioned you for divine acceleration. The things you thought were falling apart were actually falling into place. You called it loss, but heaven called it alignment. And now, the light begins to rise. What once felt cruel begins to make sense. You look back and see mercy where you once saw abandonment. You see order where you once saw chaos. You see that nothing was wasted, not a single step, not a single tear. Heaven's silence was never indifference. It was intimacy disguised as distance. I was there all along, shaping your story, rewriting your fears into faith, and molding your pain into power. You were never behind schedule. You were in my timing all along. So breathe, beloved. The night has done its work. The long silence has ended. The dawn of understanding now rests on your soul. This is not a new beginning. It's the unveiling of what I've been forming in you all along. The weak version of you has been laid to rest in the waiting. What rises now carries wisdom born of fire, peace born of patience, and strength born of surrender. Expect it now, not as a wish, but as a certainty. The time of hiddenness is giving way to the time of revealing. What I began in secret, I will now bring into light. Stand still, child of promise. The transformation has already begun. Something has begun to move. You can feel it, not in the noise of the world, but in the quiet pulse of your spirit. The air feels different, lighter, as if heaven itself has inhaled and begun to exhale purpose again. The long night has finished its work, and now dawn rises gently over the horizon of your life. This is not the promise coming someday. This is the beginning of its unfolding. What was still begins to stir. What was locked begins to loosen. What was silent begins to sing again. Heaven's turning point is already in motion. You are stepping into the flow of divine timing, not by striving, but by simple surrender. The waiting was never wasted. It was the womb of this very moment. Now life begins to break through the soil that once seemed barren. The doors that once resisted are opening with ease. The paths that once twisted into confusion are straightening beneath your feet. You no longer walk through fog, you walk through unfolding light. Every step you take now is met by grace already prepared ahead of you. The heavens that once felt sealed are now spilling over with favor, not because you demanded it, but because you were shaped for it. You endured the pruning, and now comes the fruit. You survived the silence, and now comes the song. The Father who seemed hidden now steps forward with gentle authority, whispering, "It is time." There is no striving in this movement. There is no panic, no rush, no fear. It is calm, certain, inevitable. Like spring returning to a frozen earth. You don't have to force the season, it's unfolding because the appointed time has come. The Spirit is breathing upon what was once dormant, and resurrection is happening in quiet ways. You will not have to knock down the doors. They are opening from the inside. You will not have to chase opportunity. It will recognize you because you have become who heaven designed you to be. The weak version of you cannot rise in this new light. It has already died in the silence that shaped you. What remains is steady, purified, ready. The same ground that once buried you now becomes the place of blooming. The same prayers that seemed unanswered begin to return, fulfilled in ways more beautiful than you imagined. The same tears that watered your nights now become rivers of refreshing joy. You will begin to see how everything fits, the pain, the pauses, the pull of patience, all woven together into divine sequence. Nothing was lost. Everything was leading here. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping into what has been waiting for you all along. There is peace in this shift. Heaven is not rushing, but it is moving. The sound of divine order hums softly beneath every circumstance. The Father is speaking restoration, not as a promise, but as a present reality. You will look around and realize, what once resisted now releases, what once delayed now delivers, what once hindered now helps. You will sense the rhythm of grace carrying you forward, without effort, without fear. The old season has completed its purpose. The new one begins with quiet glory. So let your heart rest in the inevitability of this moment. The turning has already begun. The light has found its way back into the cracks of your story. You are walking out of shadows, not as someone uncertain, but as someone awakened. This is the unveiling, the shift from waiting to walking, from hoping to receiving, from silence to song. Heaven has moved, and you are moving with it. Breathe deeply now, for the breakthrough is not approaching. It is here and now. Beloved, let the words grow quiet. The movement has come full circle, and heaven rests its hand upon your heart. You have walked through the shadows, waited in the silence, and now stand in the soft glow of peace. The storm has served its purpose. The fire has refined what it needed to. The struggle that once felt endless has birthed something eternal. You are not who you were when this began. The weak version of you has been laid to rest, not in defeat, but in surrender. And what rises in its place is strength baptized in grace, humility wrapped in light, and faith anchored in stillness. The battle is no longer to prove or to strive, but to remain rooted in the love that never left you. Now breathe. Let gratitude rise quietly, like incense from an altar no one sees but God. Thank Him for the waiting that became wisdom. Thank Him for the silence that became song. Thank Him for every unseen mercy that held you when you could not hold yourself. He was there in every breaking, every question, every pause. He was closer than your tears, deeper than your pain, and stronger than your fears. And now, He stands beside you, not as a distant king, but as a gentle father, whispering, it is finished. You have learned to trust me. Let every worry unclench its hold. Let every burden slide from your shoulders. You no longer have to fight to be seen. He sees you. You no longer have to earn what has already been given. He has already called you His own. The light that once seemed far now rests upon you. Peace is not a promise, it is here, breathing beside you. The heavens have done their work, and now the earth within you is still. You do not have to understand everything, it is enough to be held in the hands of the one who does. So, quietly, with reverence and release, whisper it once more, not as striving, but as truth fulfilled. If kill that weak version of yourself in 2026, not in anger, not in fear, but in love, in trust, in surrender to the one who made you new. Let the words dissolve into peace, as if truth itself exhales and rests upon your soul. No sound now, only presence. The kind that doesn't need language, because God Himself lingers in the silence, and the silence speaks. You are home.